You know the movie, you've seen the screams, but behind The Conjuring is something even more terrifying. A real house with a real history. Located in Harrisville, Rhode Island, the original Conjuring House was built in 1736 and has been the source of countless reports of hauntings, possessions, and violent paranormal activity. The Perron family lived there for just 10 years, but what they experienced left scars that never faded. Tonight, you'll hear 3 true stories connected to the real Conjuring House. You've been warned. The Perron family moved into the old Arnold estate, now famously known as the Conjuring House, in 1971. Roger and Carolyn Perron, along with their 5 daughters, were excited for a fresh start in the peaceful Rhode Island countryside, but it didn't take long for the strange activity to begin. At first, it was small. Brooms moved on their own. Doors creaked open. Clocks stopped at 3:07 a.m., the same time every night. But soon, things escalated. Carolyn would wake up to bruises she couldn't explain. The children saw figures standing in corners, hands pulling at their feet, and doors slamming shut without warning. Cold spots appeared in rooms that had no windows. Lights flickered and cut out, but only when someone was alone. One daughter reported hearing voices whispering her name, even when the house was completely silent. The most disturbing presence was believed to be a woman named Bathsheba Sherman, who'd once lived nearby in the 1800s. According to a local legend, she was accused of witchcraft and infant sacrifice, though never formally convicted. Some say she killed her own baby as a sacrifice to Satan. Others say she hanged herself in the barn behind the house and cursed the land before she died. Andrea Perron, the eldest daughter, later wrote, "Whoever the spirit was, she perceived herself to be the mistress of the house, and she resented the competition my mother posed." Carolyn was especially targeted, reportedly possessed, unable to speak, and sometimes paralyzed during episodes. One night, while sitting at the kitchen table, she suddenly began to convulse. Her chair tipped backward, and she was thrown several feet across the room. Terrified, the family reached out to Ed and Lorraine Warren, the famous paranormal investigators who later inspired the Conjuring films. The Warrens determined the house had multiple spirits, but the strongest, most dangerous was Bathsheba. They organized a seance, not an exorcism, but it ended violently. Carolyn reportedly let out a scream that wasn't human. Her body rose into the air and slammed onto the floor. One of the daughters later said, "We were all crying. We thought she was dead." The Warrens were eventually asked to leave, but the house never went quiet. The Perrons remained for nearly a decade, believing the spirits might leave them alone if they stayed strong. When they finally moved out, they claimed some of the spirits followed them. The Perrons eventually escaped, but the house didn't go silent. Because long after they left, paranormal investigators, YouTubers, and even skeptics began experiencing something they couldn't explain. And one group's live stream would capture something terrifying in real time. In October 2020, after the Conjuring House was purchased by new owners, it was open to overnight guests, filmmakers, and most notably, paranormal investigators. One of the most high-profile investigations came from Zach Baggins and the Ghost Adventures crew, known for exploring some of the most haunted locations in the world. For this special investigation, the team set up over 24 static cameras, thermal imaging devices, EMF detectors, motion sensors, and digital recorders, all rigged for a 24-hour live stream event, broadcast live to tens of thousands of viewers across the globe. It didn't take long before things got strange. Within the first hour, cameras began to glitch, freeze, and shut off entirely, despite having fully charged batteries. Cold spots were recorded in sealed rooms with no vents or open windows. Equipment alarms went off for no clear reason. A thick tension began to build, and viewers could feel it through the screen. Just before 3 a.m., the camera in the basement, a room believed to be the most active in the house, captured something terrifying. There was a sudden loud bang, followed by what looked like a tall, shadowy figure moving from one side of the room to the other. It wasn't just a flicker or camera glitch. Viewers in the live stream chat erupted. Some claimed they saw a man with no face. Others swore the figure's movement was inhumanly fast, like it glided. Zach and the crew were on the second floor when it happened. Unaware of what viewers were seeing, they only responded when they noticed a sudden spike on the EMF detectors. They rushed to the basement, but when they arrived, the room was empty. Moments later, on the same basement camera, a deep, guttural growl was picked up, heard only by viewers at home. None of the investigators heard it in person, and it wasn't recorded by any external mic. Only the live stream audio feed. One of the investigators suddenly fell to his knees, clutching his head. He began muttering that he could hear voices, not one, but many, whispering inside his ears. He said it felt like someone was crawling under his skin, like his body was being pulled in multiple directions. He began sweating, shivering, and had to be carried out of the room. Afterward, he claimed he had no memory of what happened during the episode. As the night went on, unexplained knocks, footsteps, and flickering lights continued. Multiple viewers reported hearing their own names whispered through the screen. Whether real or not, the suggestion was enough to send many loggings off in fear. Zach Baggins later said in an interview, "There's something in that house that's intelligent, and it doesn't like to be watched. It knew we were there, and it wanted us gone." The entire event was recorded and remains one of the most disturbing and well-documented live-streamed hauntings of the Conjuring House ever aired. The footage is still available if you're brave enough to watch it alone. Not all spirits in the house are malevolent. Some seem lost, stuck between this world and the next, still reliving their final moments. And in one upstairs bedroom, visitors say they've come face to face with the ghost of a child who never made it out. As the Conjuring House gained popularity, more ghost hunters, influencers, and documentary crews started visiting. Over the years, one room stood out, the small upstairs bedroom near the end of the hallway. Locals and investigators now call it the Crying Room. Visitors report a distinct presence, not threatening, but deeply sad. Some feel a cold draft that lingers near the bed, even when all the windows are closed. Others say they hear soft breathing in their ears while lying down. A few guests have described a sensation like someone small sitting on the edge of the bed, but when they turn the light on, no one's there. In 2022, YouTuber Exploring with Josh stayed overnight in that very room. At exactly 3:17 a.m., his static camera caught the sound of light footsteps approaching the bed, followed by a quiet whimpering noise, as if a child was standing beside him, crying. Josh woke up, confused, thinking one of his team members had entered the room. He opened the door, but the hallway was empty. The rest of the team was asleep in other rooms. The next morning, they reviewed the footage. Near the foot of the bed, just after the whimpering, a faint child's voice can be heard. 2 words. "Where's Mom?" Multiple paranormal teams over the years have captured similar EVPs. Quiet voices, isolated sobs, or childlike giggles captured behind closed doors. One investigator even claimed she saw a small handprint appear in the dust on the bedpost while filming. Another reported seeing a shadow crawl across the ceiling and vanish into the corner of the room. Some guests say they felt their shirts or jackets tugged, as if a child was trying to get their attention. Others have seen a small figure darting just past the doorway, always gone the moment they look. There's one theory that the spirit belongs to a young boy who died of illness in the 1800s, possibly left unattended while his parents worked the farm. Others believe he may have drowned in a nearby stream and returned to the home, the only place he ever felt safe. No official records confirm his identity, but nearly every account agrees on one thing: the room carries overwhelming sorrow. Guests often leave in tears, unable to explain why. To this day, the Crying Room is one of the most active spaces in the house. Some investigators come specifically to try to contact the boy, but many overnight guests refuse to sleep in there, even when paying a premium to stay. More than a few have checked out early, claiming they were not alone in that room. The movies are terrifying, but the truth? It's worse. From a mother thrown across a room to whispers caught on tape to a child still asking for his mom in the middle of the night, the Conjuring House remains one of the most haunted homes in America. And while the spirits may not want to harm everyone, they're not done telling their stories. Would you spend the night there? Let us know in the comments, and subscribe for more real horror stories you are never meant to hear. Because next time, it could be your room they're whispering from.